Today on the show, we have Michelle Chalmers, who needs no introduction. I'm sure the entire town knows who she is. She's currently the president of World of Wellesley and all that that entails. And Michelle is here today trying to talk to us about a book that she'd like the community to read, hopefully over Christmas in January, if people have, relaxation time to spend reading it. Tell us about the book and tell us why this is important and what you wanted to say to us today.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Rama, first for having me here. Very, very excited to get the word out to as many people as possible. This is the first time that I think I know about that we've done a community-wide read. Right. I know the Wellesley Free Library does community reads, and I know the high school has done community reads, but we wanted to be able to maybe engage as many people as we could in the community. And so how it started, a few months back, the village church, Reverend Liz, had reached out to me, obviously being the president of World of Wellesley, and we had met over tea, and we're talking about the church, village church specifically, wanting to do more partnership activities with houses of worship in Wellesley, and working on issues around social justice, around white privilege. And so her and I brainstormed for about an hour, sitting together and trying to think of what would be one way that we could engage as many people as we could, understanding our community in terms of our socioeconomic status and in terms of our more, obviously in terms of racial diversity that we have. There's obviously many more white people in Wellesley than people of color. And so we wanted to engage the majority white community in a conversation. Now, obviously, this is a conversation for everyone, of course, but we, specifically to the village church, she was wanting to really look at how we could have conversations and really move people to educate themselves more about social justice with everything that was happening, not just in our community, but
nationally.
Absolutely, in our country, and how we could engage people in conversation and also push people to maybe be change makers in some way.
As you're saying this, I had I was just thinking to myself, well, that's really some light conversation to be having over tea.
I know.
With a friend.
That's right.
Gosh.
It was actually really fun.
Right.
I love talking about.
I can see that.
Yes.
And this book is who's the author and what's the title?
Yes. So this Waking Up White. This is a memoir. This is written by Debbie Irving, who actually lives locally in Cambridge. And Debbie Irving is actually a very good friend of mine. And when I was writing my children's book, she was recommended to me. Both of us are facilitators for White People Challenging Racism, which is a course that I co-facilitate. And Debbie is also a co-facilitator. And so
where do you teach this course?
Yes, so White People Challenging Racism started about 15 years ago out of the Cambridge School for Adult Education. And then I brought it to Wellesley. I called up the Wellesley Recreation Center and asked them if I could co-facilitate a class. And we've been doing it there for about 3 years. We just finished up a class it was September to October. So every fall it's a 5-week course. It's like 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, 5 weeks. And it's obviously, again, open to any human being to engage in conversation, discussions. We really do an educational piece, then we do a practice piece, which is role playing, and then we do action. We actually have an action plan.
Piece. And you sign up through the Wellesley Rec Center?
Yes.
And it's easy to find. And what would you Google search it as? I mean, what would you put the search entry?
Yes. So you could do White People Challenging Racism. You could do WPCR. WPCR Boston, I believe it is. It has a list of all the classes of where they are across the state. but our classes in Wellesley are always in September, October.
Okay.
And if we get more interest, we'll do it more,
Right.
definitely. But it is held in Cambridge about 2 or 3 times a year. So Debbie was recommended because she was a former school teacher. I believe she was first and second grade. And so my book, The Skin on My Chin, was geared towards that grade. So she helped me edit my book, and her and I began a relationship. And it was actually before her book was published. And she kept telling me, I'm publishing a book soon. I'm publishing a book soon. Like, it's all about my racial journey, like, and my racial awareness of understanding my whiteness and really understanding white privilege and understanding the systems of inequality that we have in this country and the history. And so I was very intrigued by that. And of course, as soon as it was published, I read the book. And it was really wonderful. It really was. And I think that, wherever you are on your journey of really understanding social justice, understanding institutional racism, understanding race and racism, understanding human diversity. This book is definitely is interesting. I think, again, generalizing, but I think for most white people, it's a book that is very engaging. It's a memoir, so it's her story. It's about Debbie. Right. And it's really about, Debbie was raised in Winchester, very affluent, upper middle class, WASP. And her father, benefited from, after serving in World War II, from the GI Bill. Got her house in Winchester on government-funded loan. He got his Harvard Law degree from the GI Bill, obviously being able to have a free Harvard education that was not open to everyone.
It's not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. Yes, not bad at all. But she truly believed in the meritocracy. She truly believed that that people were in their places because they worked hard. And so what she started to realize is she started to understand the history and understand redlining and the FHA and the GI Bill, is that it excluded a lot of people.
And she found this out through her years teaching school?
No, she did not find this out until she went to Wheelock College, getting her graduate degree, and took a understanding racial awareness class. I forget the exact title. It's in her book. But she walked into the class, and the professor said, we are going to dive into our racial identity, and we are going to think about our own racial journey. And Debbie raised her hand and was like, what do I do? Because
right.
I don't have a race.
Where do I fit in?
I don't know. I know what these black and brown people are gonna do,
right.
but
that's interesting. I don't have a race.
I don't have a race.
That's funny.
Yeah,
it's like people who say I don't have an accent, and then you say, well, actually, you kind of do. It's
right. Well, right. If you have an accent, you have an accent to someone else, and
right.
someone else. Yes,
right.
But everyone, unfortunately, the way I look at it is. It's unfortunate that we have a race, to be totally honest. Race is a social construct. Race is not real. We are one species. We are 99.9% the same human beings. We are not subspecies. As a people, as a human species, and as a individual, I have a lot of identities. And I'm not sure if my racial identity really tells you anything about me.
Right, that's very true.
Yeah, right. So I think that I think we are so complex individually that maybe our racial identity really isn't necessary.
And what you're also saying is that people don't really take the time to define what these things mean and what does that mean to them and how do they view the world depending on these definitions and where do these definitions come from?
Well, absolutely,
and things of that nature.
And understanding the history, and then once you do think about race and you learn that race obviously is a myth, that it's a social construct, that we cannot be classified racially as a human group, but then racism is real. So how does racism affect us? And when I say us, I'm speaking more as a white person. If I don't see myself as having a race, if I don't see myself connected to that, but I know there's racism, well, I say, well, that doesn't really happen to me.
Right. Because it's also, some people feel that it's a very fine line, And how do you recognize it when it happens? Or is it really happening? Or it's so judgmental. It's based on one's perceptions and judgments. So those are also, it's what makes it complicated to
Well, it does.
to
I mean,
discuss.
and I guess racism, racism, I think that's one of the things that people sort of highlight when we talk about racism is the interpersonal. But I think we need to begin to look at it as a system. Because when we start to look at it, that it affects your education, it affects your health care, it affects your job, it affects your justice. There's so many areas in our systems, in our institutions that affect us, all of us. Right. And so I think that's, obviously this is a larger sort of conversation as to what and why we wanted to do a community read. But I think that for me, along my racial identity journey and understanding my whiteness and understanding how I walk the world differently than people of color has been enlightening for me and has increased my connection and understanding to people of color. Again, I'm generalizing, of course, but I feel like I see the world differently, and I think it's an amazing gift. And so when you have an amazing gift, you really want to share that. When I am able to have comfort in terms of walking into space, no matter who's in the room, and having that ability to engage in conversations with another human being who may look very different than me, might have a different religion than me, and speak a different language, have a different socioeconomic status than me, or a different ability, disability, sexual orientation, any of that. But I have that empathy and compassion and understanding. That goes a long way for my connections, and that has enriched my life. And so I feel like, that's a huge gift, and I want to give that to people. I really do, and I think that if that's my agenda, and a lot of people, wonder why I do what I do, why I'm passionate about what I do, but it's truly that I have a different lens, and I think a lot of people do, and so this book for me, and I'm always looking for books. I'm always looking for documentaries, articles, anything, because obviously everyone learns differently. Different things will, engage different people. Right. But Debbie, this book is resonating with people.
Is there a community discussion after people read the book?
Well, there's so much going on with this. Right. So the community read, so as Reverend Liz and I sort of come up with the idea, and then we sort of put it out there, and we created a Facebook page. So we have Wellesley Community Read is our Facebook page. Right. And we have 15 to 16 organizations, either organizations or groups or people that have connected with us and said, hey, I want to read the book, and we're going to have our own book group. So that was sort of the idea, was that, in your space of your trusted organization or your trusted group of friends, that you would read the book. And if you can just read the book, great. Just read the book, seriously. If you can read the book and then engage in a conversation with a group of people that you know and feel comfortable with, and maybe not feel comfortable with, to engage. So like the World of Wellesley, we're reading the book as a board, and then we're meeting in January. The ABC, A Better Chance in Wellesley, they're reading the book, and then they're planning right now of what day they're going to meet as a group to discuss. They're talking about a fireside chat, bringing soup and bread.
Oh, sounds good.
Yeah, they're going to have, hopefully, if we can find someone.
It's like a party now.
That's right. So, but again, I think it's important to understand that, yes, this is a difficult conversation and it can be uncomfortable, but we can do it in a way that's respectful, and we can have fun and have soup. So I'm excited. I'm going to go.
And tell me again when this is going to happen.
So the goal was for us to read the book between now and January. And then sometime in January, plan your book group and meet together. So I am going to have open community book groups January 6th and January 12th at the community center. Okay. The community center is wonderful. They always give us free space for the World of Wellesley. So I'm going to be there from 7 to 8:30, and anybody wants to come that has read the book.
And it's what their motto says. It's where Wellesley goes to meet.
There you go. See?
So they have 2 of those at the community center.
Steve will be very happy you said that. And so we're going to, and again, it's not come and talk about the book, how it makes you feel or it doesn't make you feel.
And people can call its executive director, Stephen Beach, at the community center to find out more information about times and
absolutely
when that's going to happen?
Yeah, and it'll also be on our Facebook page. It's on worldofwellesley.org.
Okay.
It's on our website. And then once you've read the book, and hopefully if you've met together to have a discussion, and even if you haven't, we've invited the author to come. So Debbie Irving will be here. Where I'm securing either probably the high school right now is what I'm looking at.
Okay.
I think that is a great community space, and I'm hoping we want 500 people there. Like that is our goal.
That's a good goal.
That's our lofty goal. So we need a big space.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping that February 4th there's no snow, and that 500
that
people.
That would be a good winter in Boston.
That's
February
right.
4th, no snow.
That's right. So Debbie Irving is going to come, and she is she's going to talk about her journey.
Great.
So we'll do probably a 40, 45-minute conversation. Well, 40, 45-minute, just have her talk.
You had asked someone if they had woken up in any morning, one day of their lives and said, looking in the mirror saying, I'm white. And the people that you had spoken to, many of them said that they'd never woken up in the morning, looked in the mirror, and had that sort of self-feedback or that sort of realization or that conversation with themselves. Like it just wasn't something they thought to notice.
Right.
And you told me that that's sort of the definition of this term that you've mentioned, white privilege, is that you just don't think about it at all. So sort of in a way that means that you're sort of off the hook from considering the skin that you're in.
Right. Well, we think we're off the hook.
Right. So
we do.
So that was an interesting point.
That is. Well, thank you for saying that and that you remembered that.
I do. I do. Yeah. So I usually wake up in the morning and I think a lot of things. That may be one of them, may not be, but it's interesting to see that when you ask someone that directed question, that this is kind of one of the answers. So.
Right. Well, and I think that goes back to even the word diversity. I think that the diversity somehow means not me.
Right.
Well, diversity is everything.
So it's applied to everybody else.
Everybody else. Diversity is the other. Right. Diversity is you, not you, but you know what I mean. But not me.
Right.
Even TV families looked and lived like my family. The Brady Bunch, a blended family. This for me was diversity.
For the World of Wellesley and our mission to make Wellesley a welcoming place, I think that these conversations are very important.
Right. And that's one of your World of Wellesley missions.
It's the only mission.
Is to make Wellesley a welcoming place.
Yes.
So.
Yes, it is.
Right.
It is. And so
I'm sure the soup will help with that.
I think so. That's very welcoming.
Yeah. I think in February it's,
But I'm excited. I'm excited that the organizations that are reaching out, Dr. Lucier just emailed me and said that he's going to read the book.
It's good.
And that he's engaging.
Superintendent of
Superintendent
schools for Wellesley
Public Schools. The assistant superintendent of public schools also, Judy, said that she is going to engage and read the book. We've been reached out to by Wellesley Historical Society, said that their board and organization is going to read the book. We've had many houses of worship, Temple Beth Elohim and St. Andrews, and the Wellesley Meeting House is going to engage in a conversation and read the book. We have actually Needham. UU Church actually reached out to us and asked if they could participate.
Oh, great.
So we don't exclude anyone.
Right.
So Needham is certainly invited to be able to participate. So it's not too late. Like I said, the book doesn't take long. So even if you haven't signed up yet, and you don't have to sign up. I mean, it's wonderful if you want to send me an email and Liz and let us know that you're going to read it. It's great. It makes me smile.
Right.
But this is, one thing that you can do. And I think that one of the things that Liz and I want to work with is, this is one thing, but then what do we do next? And then how do we engage in a conversation after this?
Right. And that's going to be, you're planning for post-February.
Yes.
So after.
Yes.
So that's for all the remaining time we have before summer.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
But I will say that we are, World of Wellesley is engaging in a 3-part documentary for the first 3 Wednesdays of March.
Oh, great.
So that, in case of
Yes,
have some time
of
that wants
course.
to come out to the community center again.
Good.
We're going to be showing a powerful documentary called Race, the Power of an Illusion. And so we did this last year at the library.
And when is this scheduled?
So this is for March 2nd,
Okay.
March 9th, and March 16th.
Great.
So the first 3 Wednesdays of March from 7 to 9, we'll do the first hour is the first part of the documentary, then an open conversation for an hour about the film. And then we'll do the same format for the 9th and the 16th.
Right.
And that's at the community center.
Great.
And again, World of Wellesley wants to bring as many events, opportunities, and we're open to hear from anyone. If anyone wants to reach out to me at worldofwellesley@yahoo.com, please email me your thoughts, your ideas, any connections that you want to make. Anything that you think we should be doing, or not even necessarily doing, but what does, I'm curious to know what the community thinks about, making Wellesley a welcoming place. What would that look like? What would that look like to you? What would that look like to you and your family?
Right.
And so that's important, very, very important to know. So that I'm very much open to and would love to hear from the community. And I hope, again, not that this is, the be-all, end-all, but it is, it's action. And we want to be able to bring as much as we can to the community to engage. I hope that people read it and look at it as a gift. I know I did. I know the people that I know have read it. I was, connected with Debbie. I look at her website, and so people are engaged.
Is she on tour a lot?
She is. She's traveling the country. She's traveling the country. A lot of higher ed, a lot of independent schools have asked her to come and to speak to their faculty, to their students, to their parents. So this will be the first time that Debbie speaks to our community. She did come when the book was first launched to Wellesley Books, and she did a book talk. We had probably about 7 or 8 Wellesley Middle School faculty there.
Oh, nice.
They actually ordered 40 copies of the book and read it last year.
Oh, good. And when was this book published? When did
This
it come
book,
out?
she actually self-published this book, and she published it just about 2 years ago.
Yeah. Okay, good. So it's been around for. It's easy to get. It's out there. So
Yes,
it's been there
it's
for a
at Wellesley Books. Wellesley, the owner of Wellesley Books, made sure that he had extra copies for people. The library has a couple of copies.
Great.
World of Wellesley has some copies.
And there's always Amazon.
And there's always Amazon. Yes, exactly.
Sounds
Yes.
good.
Yes.
Well, you've been a very busy president
yes.
this year for WELL. So it's strong work, and we're so happy that you have high energy and you're making this happen.
Well, thank you.
I'm sure you'll be busy promoting this through the Christmas holidays and the New Year.
That's right.
Awesome.
Rama, thank you.
Well, thank you for stopping in to discuss this. It's good to know that these things are all happening in our town and where to go to get in on the action.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.